Good. Let me see. Is it afternoon yet? It's almost afternoon here. So, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the channel. I'm Old Dead Man, your host. We're live streaming today from a different location. We're testing out and stress testing an internet connection. So, I would be greatly appreciative if you happen to notice some significant hiccups. If you would let me know. Also, report issues with the audio or video as they come up. And I'd really appreciate all of that. So, okay, we're going to try this again. Let's see. There we go. We've got another connection here, and it looks better. Good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Let me know if this connection's looking better than what we had just a moment ago. Should be live and going out already. We've been having some challenges here. I'm testing out a connection on in a new building, and I want to make sure that it's going to be able to sustain some good output. And so far, if we're dropping down to this, I think we're doing pretty good. Okay. Let me know what it looks like, everybody. I appreciate that. And I've got to go ahead and get my cell phone over here, popping up with the stream so I can be watching for your comments. Bear with me here. Yeah, whenever I do this kind of running around in different location stuff, it means that I'm going to be going to have to do things a little bit weird. And we'll just have to see where that takes me here. Okay, and there we go, live. And we'll just have to see where that takes me. Okay, got the volume down. It's looking pretty good here. I've got the comments up, and I'm watching for you guys. All right. We got all the goods. Now they've changed they've done something really unusual in this particular dev server. They added a vehicle midstream. That's right. Partway through, they added, I believe it was a new French aircraft over here. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Mirage F1c. And that's a new one, so I've not done any research on it. I'm just barely getting fired up today, so we're going to take a quick look at it. The Mirage F1c, it's like we got 2113 kilometers per hour, and at BR of 11.0. This is the top tier goodies for it. Let's take a look at the secondary weapons. And yeah, there we go. The Metro R50, 550s, and the SNEBs. Now, I've noticed, number one, a couple of things. You'll note that over here, the ordnance is not properly centered. That tells me that this is preliminary, and there are still more changes coming. So keep that in mind. They keep talking about doing something different with the ordnance system in this patch, but I keep getting the feeling it's not quite ready yet, and they're trying to shoehorn it in before it gets to the actual patch. That could mean that the patch doesn't come out quite as quickly, or it could mean that we might end up with a third dev server, which has happened before, but is pretty unusual. I mean, pretty significantly unusual. Now, they do have more than the available loadouts in the secondary weapons list here in your researchable modifications. So remember that all these things are preliminary, and they're going to be fixing things as they go along. That's what dev server is all about, especially nowadays. For a while there, the dev server was open for just these short windows, and that made it really more of a hype server than anything else. But they've actually expanded the amount of time that the dev servers are up. And by expanding the amount of time they're up, they're actually providing an opportunity for more people to actually test the things that are going on. Also, if my green screen happens to fall down, it's just a bunch of books back there, but you don't need to see all that. So I'll try and get it back up, but we're not going to worry about it too terribly much. Let's see. So there's that. They also added, I don't remember if this was midstream or if they put it in right away, because, to be honest, I have been busy as all get out. Oh, my heavens. They did finally pop the A10A late in, right here between the AV8C and right before the A7D. So that's going to be a pretty well positioned for what it does. And, you know, as I understand, they've only got part of the loadouts available and none of that all types of ordnance attached thing they had on that they'd shown on the dev stream. That's actually worse than the A10A over here, which has that multi-purpose weapon loadout already on it. But again, this is dev server. We all know that's not accurate for the A10A, the one in the tech tree. Let's see. So that's keep that in mind. I expect will, if nothing else, will at least have the multi-purpose loadout. But in the meantime, keep it in mind that this is definitely preliminary and definitely not ready. That's another thing about this dev server that's a little bit different than normal. It's definitely clear that they are fixing things on the fly as they go. So keep that in mind as you see things on the dev server, and don't be surprised if it turns out that things change, because this is one case where I can definitively state I know things are going to change before the live release. Unless they do a third dev server where they think they've got everything put together just right, it's going to be that way. Now, I went ahead and picked up, for the giggles of it, the Swedish HKP3C. It is stock. But I'm doing that so I can show you. Oh, no! Did they get rid of the helicopter? Oh, they got rid of the helicopter PvE test. Ah, that's frustrating right there. I mean, they've got the regular helicopter battles, but that's not going to do any good on this. I did some stuff with the PvE, and when I was on it last night, but while getting ready for this stream, so I've got some footage recorded. I'll try and get that together to show you what it's like. What they do is they get one of the large open maps like you have in the regular helicopter mode, helicopter battles mode, right, like here. They get one of the large maps, but there's only one side that's for players. The other side is entirely AI, and they have ground troops, and they've got like the M163s and bomb points and all that kind of stuff, and you have to go and pursue the vehicles on those and try and knock them down. It's it's not bad. It's just the one thing I noticed is that if your helicopter isn't one of the high speed ones, you're going to end up in spending a lot of time flying and not a lot of time actually killing things. So I would be hoping that they would actually go out of their way to make the PvE mode have more targets, more density of targets, so you could easily get into certain areas. What I kept finding would happen to me is I would fly to a place where there are some targets, and by the time I got there, everybody else had gotten there in faster helicopters, and I ended up being able to only pick up the pieces, and that was it. Okay, let's see. The rest of the dev server, let's see if they've got any other changes we need to be concerned with. Dev server in here, and now I did want to point out that they did make the 12.7 millimeters all have, or sorry, everything above 12.7 millimeters, it says, is now part of the DMAR formula. So does that probably means that most of the the usefulness of 50 cals and below is going to, or at least everything from 50 cal and up is probably going to be just a touch nerfed. Let's see if we can find an example of that. I'll use the A36 modifications. We're going to go to our ground targets belts and actually show, they show more penetration for it now. That's probably an interesting, because it used to be 26 millimeters was the penetration it showed. Now it's showing 30 millimeters, at least on a flat on. So maybe it comes out to the better for it. We'll find out. In the meantime, if there's anybody on there, could you let me know how the stream is going so I can take a look? You don't need to see all that. I got to switch you back over to here so we can see the comments. And we'll flip back over here. I'll do a quick rundown of all the new stuff in the dev server here. Let's go ahead and start off. We'll start with tanks. Now we got the LAV-AD right here. We can preview that and take a look at it. Lightweight, definitely interesting. It's got the 25mm gun. It's got Stinger missiles. You can switch out one of the Stinger launchers for a hydropod. Interesting. I think it'll be a really good AA gun from what I've seen. But it's also going to have the ability to take on ground targets, which really is what sets it apart from some of the other Stinger and similar attached, similar equipped vehicles. Let's see. That's all for the ground vehicles for America. We'll go to Germany. They get the Puma, the new Puma. And it's an interesting looking little guy. It should be pretty good. No ATGMs on this one. Battle rating 8.3 as of this dev server. The... come on, refresh. Get me back up here. There we go. Am I not live? Let's see, is it working? Am I on? There we are. Okay, good. Thank you, Blobert. My cell phone decided it didn't like me for today, which I am not terribly surprised. Things aren't always going that way. Appreciate you letting me know. Okay, so the Puma is going to be interesting, but it doesn't have any ATGMs. The cannon itself, let's see, modifications. The 30mm gun will have some pretty good penetration at 121mm so there's nothing it can that will be too much of a problem for it. Now, I was hoping to really show you the Helicopter PvE today, but it looks like they turned it off this morning at some point in time because it's no longer available. And now let's go ahead and move on to, let me see, ground vehicles. Anything else for Germany? Don't believe so. So we go to Russia. And they have just the T-55 AMD-1, whose big claim to fame is, in fact, it's the APS system, the Active Protection System. This is a vehicle that it's going to be a lot harder to kill, but it's also low BR. The other APS systems are at really top tier, whereas this one is going to be a lot lower down, which is going to make it a lot harder to kill at those lower BRs. That said, the APS system probably can't stop APF-SDS, and that's from what I've been seeing on the test, so don't be too terribly worried. Just hit it with a regular shell, and off you go. If you want to take a look at the modifications here, we have I didn't realize that APDS on that thing still. 3BM25 APF-SDS, 3BK17M, and it does, in fact, have an ATGM as well as one of its ordnance options. So, should be pretty good at 8.3. Most of the Russian tanks are. So that should be pretty good. Okay, Great Britain, of course, is getting its top-tier Black Knight. And the Black Knight at 11.0 is going to have probably the best active protection system in the game at this point. It's going to be a toss-up between the Israeli Merkava Mark 4B, 4M. But I could easily see this one being the tank to watch, because I expect that between that highly armored turret and a really good gun, it's going to really... anybody who gets hold down on that thing is going to be able to really smack some people around. Especially since it'll have active protection systems that at a minimum will take care of ATGMs and may also handle even some of the APF-SDS at the end of its terminal ballistics. Moving when it's slow. Basically when it's slow. So I'm expecting good things for the Black Knight and the Brits. Japan didn't get any new vehicles in the tank lineup, but they did get a nerf across most of their 8.X lineup. Many vehicles have got now slower reverse speeds, and they're just a bunch of just miscellaneous little nerfs. Now, they do have documentation that says that that's the case, so it's not ahistorical at the moment. But it does mean that it's going to be a lot more challenging to play through Japan in those 8 point whatever tiers. China. Let's see. China's getting 3 vehicles. The least interesting is the M3A3 first PTG. Just an M3A3. It works. You know, many people drive them, many people use them. It works. It's a premium, but not enough to make it worth buying, for me at least. It might be part of a new package or something like that. That'll be for new players of the Chinese tree, but we'll find out. They also have the ZTZ-88A. And this puppy should be pretty good for its BR, 8.7. The challenges are going to be, well, the lack of active protection at that point, just because that seems to be the big thing this update, the big mechanic. But it should be a good tank otherwise, with a 105mm gun, and should smack some stuff around pretty well. And the ZTZ-96A, by the way, if you have questions, feel free to pop them into the comments. I'm watching for them. And the ZTZ-96A should be pretty good as well. 9.7, though, it's going to be facing some pretty tough competitors. It does have good shells, as I recall. Especially that APF SDS for this BR. There's better, but it's very good for what it's going to be facing, except for the fact that it's going to be facing some up tiers as well. That said, it's going to be not facing the very top tier, which is a good thing for it. Anything with a stabilized gun against stationary targets is going to be really good, really. It maneuvers pretty good. It's speedy. It's for its size. I think it'll be really good. That was the HE shell, actually. And of course, you know, since I'm test driving, I might as well get ready for a round of Will It Float. Will it float? That's right. While I'm going past here, pop this puppy over into the water, and will it float? No, it will not float. But it might push through before it dies. Nope. Didn't quite make it through. Anyway, should be a good tank. It does have, I think, some dazzlers on it, if I'm understanding the technology here correct. So it can at least do some soft kill APS duties, but not the hard kill stuff. Okay, so that's the ZTZ-96A. That's nothing really has changed. Some things have improved per se, you know, compared to the previous dev server, but no big changes there. Italy does not get any new tanks. France gets, let's see, yes, they get the ELC BIS, and we're going to just go ahead and test drive that. This thing's fun. It's small, it's light, it's quick, and it should do a pretty good job. And by the way, in case you haven't seen it yet, I am testing the internet connection at a different building here. So if you see significant issues, please let me know, because knowing that is going to determine whether some things happen later on, or at least if they happen as well as they hope. This guy's quick and fast. I like the agility. However, it does have only a limited turret rotation arc. It does not turn all the way around, just turns from there to there, which is better than most casemate tanks, but this thing is so small. I think of it kind of like a slightly beefier M56. The M56 is a lot of fun, so I expect this to be a lot of fun when I get to it. Excellent. Glad to hear it. Thank you, Blobert, for giving me the report. I mean, it's popping along pretty good here. Nippy. I feel like it should be faster, but it's certainly plenty fast for the BR it's at. It'll do a good job. It'll be kind of like a very light M18. Understand there's only 2 crew members in this thing, so its survivability is effectively 0. If you take a hit, you're going back to the hangar with it. But it moves along. I like it. The gun's punchy and effective, and yeah, overall pretty good. You know, those taint traps there look kind of like headstones in a cemetery. The other challenge you're going to find is this thing bounces like crazy. So it's not got a stabilized gun, and you'll have to watch out for that, because it will, if you come to a stop hard, you think you've got things kind of lined up, you're going to take a stop and take a shot. Stop. Woo, bounce. You have to time your bounce if you're going to get a shot off early, and the reload's not quite fast enough for you to get two off in a hurry. So that'll be fun. And let me see, over to Sweden, they get the Sturv 105. And this guy, I think there's no surprises here. The 105, it moves along at 50 kilometers per hour. I'll bet you it's one of those steady British-style speeds there. Armor's decent for 9.0, but you're not going to be saving much anything. For 9.0, the ammunition's good as well. So let's go ahead and pop this over here into here. And you can see right here, we got our top penetrating 436 millimeters at point blank range. So that'll be pretty nice. Good vehicle. I like it. And I think when I get there, it'll be interesting to drive. And of course, Israel gets an entire ground tree. Some of them are very familiar, like the M51, the AMX-13, the Magoks, the early Magoks, AML-90. The Shot is going to be familiar as well. It's basically a British tank. There's some modified equipment like the Zaklam Tiger. That's going to be a fun one, but no survivability. And then we got the Magok 6s, which should be fun. What is the Galptash? Let's see, preview. Don't remember that being there before, but... Oh, look at those angles. I'll bet you that thing's going to survive a lot of stuff. Let's take a look at the X-ray. See, driver right in the middle between two racks of ammunition, though. So survivability is going to depend heavily on the ERA. Because if you get... I mean, really, if you hit it dead center, you kill the driver. If you hit it on either side, you get into the ammo. So interesting, but hold down might be your watchword on this one. Be careful with that piece of it. You might even drive it backwards into battle, if the backwards speed's any decent. Well, it should say right here. 10.3 kilometer per hour backward speed. So you aren't going to drive to the battlefield, but you might be able to reposition backwards. All right, let's see. Does anything else pop in here? Now, there's supposed to be a 4M, as I recall. But the 4B modifications. Yeah, I thought there was a 4M. Let me go take a look at the comments are going to get weird for a moment or two as I go pop over and look at the dev server update. 4M. Okay, there's not a 4M. All right, so I'll keep that in mind. I'll double check for that for dev blogs. We can pop over here. Tab, pop over here, and dev blog. Yeah, there is a 4M coming. It's just not in this dev server. So the 4M is going to be the one that's going to have the active protection system, and that should be interesting for the rest of us. Otherwise, it's the same as the 4B, and should be pretty darn good at top tier. Okay, let's bring the comments back. There we go. Yep, you were right, Bluebird. It is not on the dev server yet, and just want to double check. So good job. You're ahead of me on that one. Okay, everything else is pretty garden variety. The Macbeth is an M163 with some stingers attached, which should improve the M163. It's a straight up improvement of it, as far as I'm concerned. That'll be a good combination. Okay, that's all ground vehicles. Everything else is pretty well familiar already. Gamel, I think, is a... Turn off the X-ray so I can see what it looks like. Yeah, it's basically another one of them. Okay. A lot of these are just modifications of familiar tanks that you'll already be well familiar with in other trees. If you haven't been playing through, that might be an interesting tree to get to. If you can get to rank 4 of another nation, you can be already into this one in a hurry. The M51 is going to be the lowest of all of its stuff, but even that is enough interesting to support a rank 4 lineup. Okay, so that's Israel. Now let's back over to the US again. We're going to hit the helicopter tree, which there's no changes in. And as I recall, the only one with changes to helicopter tree is going to be Sweden. Okay, let's see. Japan, China, doesn't have a heli tree. Italy, right. Sweden is the only change there. And I did a whole video on these. It was a short, just a short, because all of these are just modifications of existing helicopters. And the real changes are the ATGMs they launch. Now let's go ahead and pop over to Israel. Of course, doesn't have a heli tree yet, but it did get the premium AH-64A Patin put into its lineup. So that means that you'll at least have a helicopter if you want to spend the money for it. I am not looking to spend that many Golden Eagles for a helicopter. All right, starting over from the front, let's go ahead and hit the air trees. Aviation. And as we know, the B-26B is coming. I will take a fast look at that. I did have a somebody comment on the B-26 dev blog that his grandfather had actually fought in that. I think it was 43 missions in the B-26. And it's going to be pretty familiar. It's a decent performing aircraft for a bomber. It's low tier, so you're not going to be doing a whole lot of. You're not going to bring this up into like top tier. Yeah, let's see. Stock aircraft syndrome. Get it moving, boy. Get it moving. It does have the forward-firing guns, which makes it kind of similar to the B-25. And I think people will use it in similar fashion. This one does not have any real protection for the belly. It does have a little bit just kind of off either side, so you can get a little bit below, but not a lot. Pretty well armed as far as the defensive armament, and the machine guns are pretty good as well, with as many as there are. At this BR, I expect it'll be fun to fly. And since I always do the fly really low thing, I'll just have fun going in there and flying low and goofing off. All right. You. There's a lot of sticking bombs in this thing. How am I missing with these bombs? I'm not missing. You can see the burnt holes all around it. They're just inky dinky bombs. They're not doing much. Anyway, good plane. I like it. I like bombers. So I'll be flying this for the fun of it. Die, 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 die. Did you see that? It actually moved the tank when I hit it with the plane. That was entertaining. I never seen that before. That is awesome. Okay. And of course we have something that we all are expecting and are delighted for, the A-10A late. And we're going to go ahead and take it for a test flight because, hey, why not? We already kind of looked at that briefly. The ordnance options are still incorrect for it. So they're very much limited and not very exciting at this point. the key on that is that this is the second dev server, and as they're still talking about that ordnance system, making updates to the ordnance system. Whether that's a customizable pylon setup, which I think would be awesome, we'll see. But so far, they've not been clear on it. I think they're having trouble making it work in the engine. Let's go ahead and while I'm doing it, let's go ahead and turn on the Cannon ballistic computer. I'm not carrying any rockets, but I'll turn it on. That's from 2 kilometers out there. There's just no way that's actually going to hit. Well, that was over 1 kilometer away, and it blew off that 2S6 without any issues. The 30 millimeters are really, really, really effective. I love them. They're doing their job, and they're doing what you expect them to do, which is kill tanks really, really fast. If you're doing more than about 3 passes to kill something with the A10 of this cannon, then you're kind of bumped into some kind of weird problems you shouldn't be. Of course, it might help if I don't hit that building. Woo! That was a lot closer than I expected. All right, let's see. Whoop, hold on. Pull out again. Ooh. Okay, I'm hashing this up pretty bad. There we go. Just wait till I try and do this with a joystick instead of the keyboard and mouse. That is going to be entertaining. I didn't say it would be good, but it will be entertaining. Okay, we got it lined up. Voila, 3rd pass. And that was after 2 crappy passes, too. Not Krabby Patties, crappy passes. Okay, so I saw there were some extra comments here. Let's take a look. Caltech Tree A10 is the ooh, yes, very nice. The Air National Guard, thank you for your grandfather's service. And the F104, I see there's a comment there, Mr. Luna Gameplay. F104 for the Italian tree should be pretty good. They're going to get the better missiles, as I recall. We'll take a look at that. I can't fly it, but I can definitely take a look at it for you. Now, the A-10 is extremely agile for the size of plane it is. I think that people are going to be caught by surprise if they are dumb enough to try to turn fight it. And you know that somebody is going to be dumb enough to turn fight it. It's one of the... it is the constant in War Thunder. And that is that people will try to turn fight when they should not be turn fighting. I mean, this thing rolls nice and snappy, has good handling. I mean, you just really... It is a very responsive aircraft. I'm going to see if I can get a buddy to maybe pull out a Spitfire, and we'll see if we can get into a dogfight with the A-10 at some point. Not today. And I'm going way too fast for this landing. I almost landed it on the carrier, but I was just a touch too fast. Just a touch. And I didn't quite stop before the end of the carrier. Fell off, just dribbled off the front of it. It was pretty hilarious. Very close, though. Okay, that's the A-10. This is the Tech Tree variant, as opposed to the premium variant, and I think that's going to be awesome. A lot of fun. They are at the same BR right now, and since there's not much to show between them, with the exception of some air-to-air missile differences, at least in quantity, Um, I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. So, as far as the difference goes. Good afternoon, Moxie. Thank you for joining me today. I'm looking at the comments on my cell phone today because I am really going insane trying to test out some things in preparation for some events coming up. So I'm at a different building. I've got my computer, which took me forever to get set up because things were not working in this building. So I had to fix the internet connection enough to make it work. Then I had to fix fix up a network. Actually, right now I have got a. This is going to be pretty hilarious if you could see this. I have my gaming computer, and it is plugged in with an Ethernet cord to a MacBook Pro from 2010, and that is connected to the building's wireless, and it's sharing that internet connection for my gaming computer. So I've got my gaming computer going through a MacBook Pro to go down to the wireless to the building, which then gets on a cellular network to go to the internet and send it to you guys. Pretty nuts. Pretty crazy. But the fact is that since it's supporting this, it'll do what I need it to do quite nicely. I'm pretty delighted. So you got the A10A, the A10A early, and by the way, the ordnance there, just in case, this is not complete at all. So I know this is still in progress. And you can even see it says 4 AIM-9Ls, but it only shows individual sidewinders here. So there's lots of things that still need to be fixed. But it is there at least, and it was one of the ones that was introduced partway through this dev server. That was also another first, that they were adding vehicles actually as the dev server was continuing. That tells me that this is very much a work in progress, and Gaijin is hustling to make things happen. Okay, let's see. Yeah, isn't it nutsy, Moxie? I mean, seriously, this is totally, yeah. The fact that it works is a miracle in and of itself. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I don't believe the A10 has reverse thrust, at least not in the game. I'd have to check. A10 thrust reverser. Nope, I don't believe it has. Don't think those engines support them. I don't see anything on there that shows that they would support it. None of the scoop buckets or any of the things that you'd normally see associated with a thrust reverser on the A10's engines. To answer you, Libby, I can definitely fly a F104, but I can't fly the Italian one. I'll see what where we're standing there, because my Italian tree is about rank 4 for aircraft. Okay. Oh, you chucks! I just breezed right past Germany's MiG-23 MLA. We can just take a quick look at it. This puppy's going to be pretty good. It's good in the Russian tree, so it should be good here too. Secondary weapons loadouts. Again, these are not final. You can tell that just because things are offset in weird ways. And yeah, that is just insanely. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Germany already has plenty of good stuff, and I mean a lot of good stuff. There's a tremendous amount of great equipment in the German tree. Not to mention the fact that their high-tier tanks are amazing as well. All right, so the Su-22 AUM-3K should be good. And in fact, I've messed around with this one a little bit, but not on the German tree. When I did some looking into this one, it handled pretty well, and I like it. I think it'll be pretty good. Its secondary weapons look kind of like this, and this looks a lot closer to what it should be, but it's still not finished, so expect these to change and things to get shifted around and fixed up there. Oh. Okay, so that's the Su-22 UM-3K. That's it for Germany's air tree. They're getting two major aircraft this time, so keep that in mind. Russia, I don't believe, is getting any new air so far. Now, there's people that are hot to trot over the fact that they aren't getting the Su-25, but there is plenty of really good aircraft here in the Russian tree. So they don't need it right now. It can wait. It'll probably be next patch, would be my guess. Somebody asked about fourth generation, actual fourth generation. They're setting the stage for it with the changes they're putting in now. It's a very incremental, stepping stone process from everything I'm seeing. They are carefully adding each individual little piece and balancing it in each patch, taking their time to do it. They've said fourth generation fighters this year, though. I expect it'll be late this year because we still got a lot more steps that need to be taken to get there. And that's my opinion on it. Okay, so Great Britain, I don't believe they're getting any new air either. No, no new air. Japan, no new air. Know that for sure. China's getting the J8B. Now, I did, when this was mentioned on the dev stream, and it wasn't on the dev server, I did some research on this. And way back when, and, I don't know, I'd have to bust out all the documentation that I would kind of looked at briefly, because I don't have it memorized. But when they first mentioned this on the dev stream, everybody started talking about the number on the side, 81192. And there was an incident, it was the location I don't remember right now, but where an American reconnaissance aircraft, or spy plane, really, let's cut to the chase, it was a spy plane, was intercepted by the J8B number 81192. And they collided, and the jet was destroyed, whereas the American reconnaissance plane, heavily damaged, managed to make an emergency landing on a China-controlled airstrip. So that was a whole incident in of itself. I believe, as I recall, China tore apart the reconnaissance plane and then returned it in parts to America later. But the pilot, 81192, that was a Heng Wei, I believe is his name. He has been memorialized or even canonized in Chinese culture, as I understand it. I'm not an expert on Chinese culture, but I'm just what I've researched. And so they, like for instance, some of the military units that would have been involved at that time still do I guess you'd call it a missing pilot call, where they say that, for instance, the aircraft carrier will say that the deck is cleared and available to him, to that pilot, even though they know he has been long since passed away. But it's just a mark of respect, much like an end of watch for a police officer or something similar, where the specific circumstances dictate that show that was a particularly unique circumstance or particularly noteworthy for its bravery. But they've really canonized the pilot from 81192, and it wasn't until the dev stream where they actually talked, where they were talking about the plane, but everyone was saying in the comments 81192, 81192, 81192. That it struck me that there was something unique about this aircraft, and this specific one is apparently specifically targeted to speak to the Chinese players to respect that pilot. So there you go. That's the brief and very fractured retelling of the backstory of 81192. If you're interested in a more full-length video when I get some more time, let me know. Just drop it in the comments. I'll see if I can do the full research, put together an actual video on that incident. But the J8B should be pretty good. Let's see, the secondary weapons. Again, these are not final. They've got some good air-to-air ordnance. Let's see. The Aspide 1As should be pretty good with for the radar homing varieties, and some bombs and some HE rockets. But again, I don't think this is final in any way, shape, or form. So that's the brief history of the 81192 and the J8B. Let's move on to Italy. I'm seeing some comments here. Hit detection late. Yeah. I don't know what year it happened offhand. Feels like it was 80s, but I'm not. I don't remember. I'll tell you what. I'll take a moment. Let's take a second or two here. Never hurts anything to just pop up the old Google. That's the Hainan Island incident. Occurred in, it was more recent than that, April 1st, 2001. A United States Navy EP-3E Ares II signals intelligence aircraft and a People's Liberation Army J-8-2 interceptor fighter jet collided in mid-air, resulting in an international dispute between the United States and the People's Republic of China. They were operating 70 miles. The EP-3 was operating 70 miles away from the People's Republic of China island province of Hainan, about 100 miles away from the Chinese military installation in the Paracel Islands, when it was intercepted by two J-8 fighters. A collision between the EP-3 and one of the J-8s caused a PRC pilot to go missing and later presumed dead, and the EP-3 was forced to make an emergency landing on Hainan. The 24 crew members were detained and interrogated by the Chinese authority until a statement was delivered by the United States government regarding the incident. The exact phrasing of this document was intentionally ambiguous and allowed both countries to save face while diffusing a potentially volatile situation between militarily strong regional states. Let's see if I can. I'm quickly scanning the document here, so bear with me. The U.S. government says that the Chinese jet bumped the wing of their EP-3, since it's both larger, slower, and less maneuverable. The EP-3, the pilot said the EP-3 was on autopilot and in straight and level flight at the time of the collision. He stated that he was just guarding the autopilot in his interview with Frontline. So basically, the EP-3 was on autopilot, straight and level, and the Chinese jet got close and bumped it. So there's no data from the flight recorders of either aircraft. Okay, both of which are in their possessions, and in the Chinese possession. The crew was released on April 11th, 2001. And see, the U.S. Navy said engineers said the EP-3 could be repaired, but China refused to allow it to be flown. So they dismantled the aircraft and released that on July 3rd, 2001, meaning that by the time the Americans said, yeah, we could repair that, China had already had it taken apart. I mean, really, let's cut to the chase on that. They were already tearing it apart, and they wanted all the secrets. So that's the long story short on that. Pop that back up. The Hainan Island Incident. Hainan. Hainan Island. All right, so back to Italy. And they've got an F-104 SASA. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. This is, as I recall, the first 104. Is it the first 104 with air-to-air missiles, or is it just the first one with decent air-to-air missiles? Let me think about that for a second or two. Flares and chaff. Yeah, it'll get AIM-9Ls or Aspides. And the ordnance options. This looks like it's pretty well plotted out. You got the attached gun and a gun pod and a variety of ordnance options here, including a 2,000-pound bomb. FFARs, 20mm cannon, and the Zunis. Let's see, yeah, so garden variety stuff. I think this is fairly close to the final on this, but I don't know for sure. As it is, you know, the F104 is a beautiful aircraft. It really is. Has an interesting profile, and it's fast. It really is. It's go fast, don't turn fast. But a good pilot can really do some things with it. Yeah, Italy will be enjoying this F104 definitely over time. I'm thinking they'll really enjoy that. France, as I recall, is getting the B-26C, which we already kind of reviewed the B-26. And the Mirage, this is the surprise. This puppy showed up during this dev server. It actually was added day before yesterday, as I recall. And the dev server's been open since about middle of the week. So the Mirage F1c, this should be really delighting a lot of French mains here. We've got a good speed here. We've got a lot of really awesome ordnance, but I think this one's really short. Yeah, they have not added all the ordnance options clearly to this one. And there's going to be a lot of really happy French mains when they do get all this added and the vehicle is ready for release. I mean, look at all this stuff. You got the matras of different varieties. You got bombs in different varieties. You got gun pods. There's some good stuff here, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. So French mains should have a blast. Okay, let's see. Sweden, Aviation. I don't think there's anything new for Sweden. No, okay. And Israel is only getting on top of the existing air tree. They're getting a premium F-84F, which should be pretty familiar to everybody. So we'll just take it for a quick test flight, just for the giggles of it. And, you know, crash it into something, you know. The F-84Fs are pretty familiar already. They're in like 2 other check trees. So we shouldn't have any questions on this one per se. But if you got them, let me know. Okay. Let me see. Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Russian men knock out some of their own when they're trying to knock down MiGs, Lemmy. Would not surprise me at all. Because they were really trying to knock out them. In fact, it wasn't until I think it was the Powers incident that they managed to knock one down. And that was a whole fiasco and a half. Not a fun time, I can tell you that. Let's see. Curious, do we have... Ooh, a cannibalistic computer. Oh, retract my flaps. Those. Okay, not impressed. That was a lot of 50 cals, because that's what this is 50 cals. And this is where the 50 cals really stop being really effective. You can knock things down as long as they're relatively decent, but they're not near as effective as they are at lower tiers. That's a reason why even Americans stopped using them as primary armament on jets, was they just weren't killing things fast enough. The 20mm rotary cannon, though, was doing a good job of that. Oh, that was bad. Apparently I'm not leading my target very well. There we go. Gotta get the lead down. Anyway, nothing wrong with it. I think it's a perfectly fine aircraft. I just don't find it to be exciting. mainly because it's in so many other trees. But if you're going to main Israel, having an extra aircraft that gets you some premium bonuses is always good. Right through the tree, right through the tree, right through the... Alright, there's the F-84F in the Israeli tree. Okay. Well, hello, Weaponized. How's life treating you today? I swear, I stream in the weirdest places. You know, could be a office building, could be a video studio, could be a church, could be a... You know, I'm starting to think I ought to probably start a channel where I stream from strange random places. Maybe some random McDonald's parking lot or mountaintop somewhere. Extreme streaming. That's it. And even though it's all about the gameplay, it's like, I'm sitting on top of a mountain streaming. That'd be hilarious. I don't know. Maybe someday. I'll think about that. Oh, don't want to quit. Stop that. Okay. So let's pop back. Naval's a lot easier to kind of cover, so we'll just quickly pop through it. Arizona is already there. No major changes from the last time. So should still be good. Just fine like always. Good ship. Good place in the tree at 6.7. Let's see. They did get an unusual one. The Kimki, I believe it is. And it's cute, but it's not very heavily armed, and it's slow. This is a South Korean ship, and I really don't know what to make of its addition to the American tree. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't fulfill anything. It doesn't add anything to the tree. And so I'm really puzzled by its addition.
The enemy is burning. The enemy ship sank.
It doesn't do anything for it. And I don't know why. It does add a little bit of anti-aircraft oomph. But you're not going to be taking on, like, this cruiser with your one little pop gun. Could you imagine trying to knock that enemy boat down with this gun at any range? I don't understand its addition. This thing, though, I understand. Get over here. Get over here. Come on, a little bit farther. There we go. He's on fire. Okay. So it doesn't make sense to me as to why it's here, except for maybe to introduce South Korean vessels to the tree and give them a place. So there could be that they're planning more of them, and I just don't. And you know, they'll just add them as a little sub tree of the U.S. here. But it's just got the one main gun. It's got a few smaller guns. It's made basically an anti-air boat for in-game use. Tell me what you think of that. Why are they adding the Kimki? However you pronounce that. Extreme streaming. Yes, I think that'd be hilarious. Don't you think it'd be hilarious to start up an extreme streaming trend? You know, from the top of the mountains of Colorado to streaming from in front of a whitewater river, because you're not going to do it from the boat. Though that'd be hilarious. Could you imagine trying to stream while in rapids, whitewater rafting, and game at the same time? There we go. We're going through. Sploosh. Ah! There's my laptop. Went overboard. It's a good thing I had it waterproofed. Quick, grab it before it goes blub, 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 it's sank. All right, that's enough goofing off. Back to Germany. We're going to hit up the blue water side, which I believe they got the Karl Marx. That's not on blue water. That is on coastal. Yeah, they got the Karl Marx. They finally got it in here. I'll just go ahead and test sail it. Again, this is another one of those ships where I'm not quite clear on why it's being added. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not terribly heavily armed. It's got a few guns for its class and size. That said, it blows up little leaky deaky boats really, really well. It's not bad. It's just not stellar either. And so I'm not quite clear on what its role is supposed to be and what it brings to the table. Right there. I mean, it's a pretty boat. I like it. It's just, I don't know what it brings. So there's that. That said, it is a squadron squadron vehicle. So if you're in a squadron and you're playing regularly and your squadron's doing well, you will eventually get it no matter what. Just because you'll be able to put points in it without actually costing you anything. It's not high on the priority list for me for researching the squadron vehicles on that goes. And notice that on the dev server, I'm not in a squadron. So, keep that in mind. It doesn't show here. But I've got several of them. All right, so moving on to Russia. Blue water. Anything new in the blue water? No. Coastal. I believe there was something new coastal. What was it? There it is. MPK PR12412P. So it's basically a premium version of the top tier one, which, okay, they've said they'll have no top rank premiums. And that is in fact true. But this vehicle is an identical copy of this one. It's just a lower rank. And it's premium. So it's effectively a top tier vehicle. So keep that in mind. Not that it matters because it's naval. Nobody's going to really care. Some people play it. And I do play a little bit of naval here and there. So I'm in that list. Just, it seems like an odd thing to put in as a premium. Britain, I don't think they get anything new in naval. Yep, HMS Valhalla, another premium. And nothing wrong with the Valhalla. Should be a good ship there.
Gunners are searching for airborne and surface targets.
Oh yeah, I know all about computers and electronics in that regard. Whoops, that was interesting. Oh, that's right. They've changed the firing mechanics. They're no longer. Okay, there we go. If you do not have fire control, then the cannons don't fire together at the same time. They fire at their own time. So instead of firing all at one salvo, it kind of ripples. And that's an interesting change. I think that's going to be fun, actually. I think a little bit of realism on that would be nice. Never a complaint about that. Okay, let me see. 4.53. About there. I'm going to hold the mouse button down, see where the shots land. Nice. Good hit. But, yeah, they no longer fire as one individual salvo. They'll all fire but they don't fire together like they do normally. They ripple through it. That was fun to see. Yeah, let's get the. I'll just mount the laptop in a Ziploc baggie. That's it, and I'll use a wireless keyboard and mouse. That'll totally do it. They're supposed to be able to be really good, right? Okay, so that's that. Let's check coastal. Okay, nothing new there. Japan's getting a big boy. They're getting the Congo. Good, preview that puppy. You know, that is eight 36 centimeter cannons right there. 2, 4, 6, and 8. We're going to go with 8 more 15 centimeter cannons. That'll be the secondaries. Then we've got 6 5-inch guns. 16 25 millimeter guns. An additional 30 25 millimeter guns in single mounts, and additional 18 25 millimeters in triple mounts. Sorry, that's 3 times 8. That is a whole mess of 25 millimeter guns. So this thing should be good for anti-aircraft work, especially at close range. Should be a really interesting battleship here. Really should. The usual weakness for Japanese ships was their radar was not that good. So while their optical rangefinders were amazing. So we'll see how if that actually pans out or makes any difference in War Thunder. And on coastal side, nothing. Okay. China doesn't have boats. Italy does have blue water. And nothing new. And coastal. The Albatross. I remember the Albatross. Let's see. It's good. Preview that guy. Did a dev blog in it already. Should be all right. I think it'll be a good ship. The depth chargers are going to be what is going to be fun. And the hedgehogs. But those are all hard to use. So you're going to have to get used to messing around with those. And it's only lightly armed beyond that. But the fire rate on the 76 millimeter should be really good. That was its claim to fame. On France, let's see, no. How do we not have French Navy yet? That is a question I pose. French Navy should have been there. Obviously no Swedish Navy, and Israeli Navy, obviously not yet, although with the addition of the helicopter tree, the addition of Sweden's helicopter tree, you couldn't surprise me with anything at this point. And that's all the vehicles that are coming in the next patch that we know of so far. Any questions, guys? Let's go ahead and while I'm waiting to see if you guys have questions, I'm going to quickly whip up a German lineup here. Change this to ground realistic. Leopard 1. No. There's a Helicopter Chopper. C2A1. A Gepard. I'm going to switch you to a, let's see, that one. And I'm going to go ahead and do a ground realistic battle, see if we can get the new map. It really has been interesting. Having the dev server on for this much time is the first time we've actually been able to test things. And you know, people submit bug reports. They'll spend the few hours that a dev server is open trying to bug report their favorite vehicles. But this is the first time I've been able to actually sit down and actually play the play the vehicles, play the maps in particular, and try them out. They fixed the spawn points at least. You're not staring at each other's spawn point. Okay, do we have a bunch of AI here? Yeah, they're just not spawned in yet. Okay. Now the new map, not bad, but I would like it to be about 50% larger, and they have fixed the spawn point problem, so that's been a positive. Oops, just about blocked myself in there. Some of the elevated positions provide some interesting opportunities, so no complaints there. Let me check to make sure we're still showing everything just right. Looking good there, looking good. Okay, great. And back to the dev server. Do I have, nope, just thermal, night vision, not thermals. Now I am sitting a little farther away from the screen this time than normal. So if I miss things, well, okay, if I miss things, it's pretty normal no matter what. But, okay, let's see, what do we got? Okay, somebody killed it. Oh, they're already on Alpha.
Attack the A point.
Defend the A point.
I saw a bang right there. There's probably a... Oh, I think it's an AI. Dang it. Just keep rolling. Just keep rolling. Ignore the fire. Ignore the fire. Now we stop the fire. Ah! Okay, I didn't stop the fire soon enough. Okay, so it's not a bad map. It's just not a very good map either.
Attention to the designated grid zone.
Affirmative.
The Allied forces have captured a zone.
Have you guys been seeing enough about this map to get a feel for it yet? Let me know. And so far, it looks like this internet connection has been stable enough. Decent. Not awesome, but decent. I did have to drop from 60 frames per second to 30 frames per second so I could stream on it. But that's not necessarily a negative. It is, for what we're going to be doing, what I'm going to be doing with this internet connection here, will involve certainly 30 frame per second video anyway. Climbing up here. Now, if you look just a little bit to the right, that building right there, if you go through there, that's where the normal east side cap is. So, if you're in the 3 cap zone, that'd be point C, I think it is. They also put, like, there's a single cap for that side, they'll stick it over there.
Enemy forces have captured a zone. Attack the B point.
What was that? Drop some army right up there. I feel like there was something there that needed to be killed, but I can't tell from here now. All right, let's keep moving.
Yes!
All right, Father Oz, thank you for joining us today. Sorry, I'm having to look down at the cell phone here so I can keep track of the comments. I'm streaming from a different than normal location. Oh. Well, I'll put this guy out of his misery. Oh, I have no clue what ammunition I've got selected here. Yeah, I won't put him out of his misery. Yep, that was not good for me. I'll see if I ever try and put you out of your misery again there, buddy. Yeah, I'm hearing airplanes, but I'm not seeing them on radar. Right there. Okay, a little bit higher. Come on. Right there.
Attention to the map. Yes!
Okay, it sounds like he might be trying to find me now. Goodbye, Mr. A-10.
8 points. Attention
No
to the
night
map.
vision on the Gepard right now.
Roger that.
That's a friendly aircraft. Well, that's where he was. All tucked up under that tree, huh? No, I don't need to see that. Okay, what have I got left? I got a Leopard 1. A couple of backups, huh? Thank you very much, Faraz. It's good to see you as well, and welcome aboard. Friendly air that time.
Attention to the designated grid.
Alright, let's go this way.
Roger that.
I don't think it... Yeah, not got thermals on this. Okay, there we go. That's a sign, guy. Alright, I'm getting a little paranoid. Start trying to drive around the, oh. Okay, Okay, let's see what we got here. Can I? There it is. And right there. Keep going. You know you gotta keep going. Right. There. Now he's on fire. And hit him again. Oh, for heaven's sakes! Leave me alone so I can kill something, people. I don't think I got anything left. Anyway, I'm not seeing any questions now, so I think we're going to start bailing off for tonight, or for this afternoon, because I have got things to do. I've got kids to take to activities, and I've got to take my wife some dinner. She's working tonight, so she asked me to bring her some dinner over. And I think that I should probably get off this internet connection because it looks like it's doing just fine. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody. I appreciate everything you've done. I appreciate you being here. If you have any questions for me, just drop them into the comments. I'll see if I can catch them. You have a great rest of your day, and we will see you in War Thunder.